Python user input. So user input. Python allows for user input. That means that we are able to ask the user for input. The method is a bit different in Python 3.6 than Python 2.7. In Python 3.6 uses the input method, and in Python 2.7 uses the raw input method. So since we're using a later version of Python, so I'm going to make use of the input method. So user input. The following example asks for the username, and when you enter the username, it gets printed on the screen. So here we have an example. Username equals input, enter username, and then print username is plus and then the username. So if we run the program, let's say the file name of this program is demo user input 3. So we have Python and then demo user input 3.py. So once we execute, this will appear. Enter username, and then you can enter the name, so just like in my case. And then once you press enter key, so it will now execute this one. So username is Eudz. That's the output. So Python stops executing when it comes to the input function. So the program will stop here, and then the user will be able to enter the input. So and continues when the user has given some input. So just like what we have done here. So here's another example. So write a program to ask the user to enter rate and hours, then display the gross salary, deductions, and net pay. So where, let's say for example, gross pay is equal to rate times hours, deductions is equal to 5% of gross pay, and the net pay is equal to gross pay minus deductions. So we're going to enter rate and hours. That's why here in our program, we'll be asking for the user to input rate and hours. So we have the rate is equal to input enter rate, but we have to convert this one into the input here to a float. So that's why we have to use float, and then inside the parentheses we use input enter rate. So that is to convert our input from a string to float. And then hours, the same. Hours is equal to float, input, and then enter hours. Then after that, so we have to compute for gross salary, deductions, and net pay. So we have here gross salary is equal to, so these two variables here, rate times hours. The deductions is equal to gross salary multiplied by 0.05. So that's 5% of gross salary. So we multiplied by 0.05 to compute for the deductions. And then for net pay, is now the difference between gross pay and deductions. So net pay is equal to gross salary minus deductions. Then now it's time for us to print the output. So print gross salary, comma, and then gross salary. Print deductions, and then we have the deductions. Print and then net pay, comma, and then the variable net pay. So the output will be something like this. So once we run the program, so this is my file name. So once I run the program, this will appear, it will stop, and then I entered 500. Then this will appear, it will stop, then I entered 800. And then gross salary, then it will now display this output. Gross salary is 40,000, deductions is 2,000, and the net pay is now 3,000 or 38,000. Okay, so in input, we will assume that the input is in the form of a string, so we must use casting to convert the input to float. So that's why we have this float function here. Okay, so that's for user input. Okay, so for us to be able to play that live, so we have here Python followed by the file name sample input.py. So that's the program. It will now ask us for the rate. So let's say we have 450 point, oh no, sorry, 450.75 for example. Then for hours we have 81.25. So once I press enter key, so these are both our user inputs. So once I press enter key, then it will display the output. So if you want to format these values, so take a look at our next video for formatting strings. Thank you very much for watching this video. Okay, so for this video, we'll be talking about string formatting. Now we have actually have discussed something about strings in my previous lectures, but now let's concentrate now on string formatting. So string format, so the format method allows you to format selected parts of a string. Sometimes there are parts of a text that you do not control. Maybe they come from a database or user input. To control such values, add placeholders, these are the curly brackets, in the text, and run the values through the format method. So for example, add a placeholder where you want to display the price. So we have here price is equal to 49, then text is equal to the price is, and then we have the placeholder dollars. Then print text that format price. So the value of this will be placed inside the placeholder. That's why the output of this program will be the price is $49. You can add parameters inside the curly brackets to specify how to convert the value. So for example, format the price to be displayed as a number with 2 decimals. So to do this, we have price equals 49, then text the price is, and then we have the format colon that 2F dollars. So print text that format price. So the price is $49.00. So it will provide 2 decimal places because of the 2 here. So if you want, you can let's say you convert that to 4, but of course when it comes to monetary values, we usually have 2 decimal places. Multiple values. If you want to use more values, just add more values to the format method. So let's say for example print txt format, then we have here 3 values: price, item number, and count. And add more, of course we add more placeholders also. So just like in this example, we have quantity equals 3, item number equals 567, price equals 49. So we have actually a very similar examples in the previous videos rather. So so we have a placeholder here, pieces of item number, another placeholder 4, then we have colon that 2F dollars. So print my order that format. So this placeholder will be for the quantity. So quantity, comma, and then the next placeholder will be for the item number, comma, and then the next placeholder will be for the price. So the output will be I want 3 pieces of item number 567 for $49. Index numbers. You can use index numbers, so a number inside the curly brace, so just like this one. So we have 0 as our index number. To be sure the values are placed in the correct placeholders. So example here, quantity equals 3, item number equals 567, price equals 49. So my order equals I want pieces, so 0, that means I'm referring to the first item of item number 1, then that's the second item here in the format function. For 2, that's the index, colon that 2F dollars. So that means, so I have to print my order format. So again, quantity, that is index 0, item number, that's index 1, and price, that is index 2. So I want 3 pieces of item number 567 for $49. And if you want to refer the same value more than once, use the index number. So just like in this case, age equals 36, name equals John. So his name is, so we have a placeholder, period, another placeholder with the same index, index 1 is another placeholder with 0. So we have here 3 placeholders, years old. But here we only have 2 values, 2 variables. So that means that one here is referring to index 1, that's referring to name. So name will appear twice and age will appear once in index 0. So the output here will be his name is John, and John, again, that's the name, is 36 years old. We can also have named indices. So you can also use name indices by entering a name inside the curly bracket. Just like in this example, we have curly brace and then car name. But then you must use names when you pass the parameter values. So text.format, then we have car name equals Ford. So that's how you pass the format. You have to provide the name. So an example, my order is equal to, I have a car name, comma, it is a model. So print my order.format. So we have car name equals Ford, and then model equals Mustang. So this value will be placed on this placeholder, and this value will be placed on this placeholder because of the name indices. So the output will be, I have a Ford, it is a Mustang. So these are some string formatting types. So we have B for binary, C, D, etc. So E, F for fixed number format, that's what we have used a while ago. F will be the same, but just in case the output is INF or none, then it will be shown in uppercase. So we have the general format, octal, etc., percentage format. And we have several examples on the next slide. So you can refer to the internet for more formatting types. But I have here some examples. So let's say to use a percent example, so text equals you scored percent. So print txt format 25.25. So that's without decimal, or this one is with decimal places, so 0.0 txt. So again, percent, so we print the same value. So if you're going to look at the first one, it will print several decimal places because we did not control the number of decimal places here. But here on the next one, we specify that there will be no or 0 decimal places. So that's why it will print you scored 25%. So take note of the difference between these two placeholders of using the format. So here text universe is so colon comma years old. So we can use the comma format. So print txt that format, so 1380000. So the output will be the universe is 13,800,000,000 years old. So separated by commas. So let's say, for example, we just want to add comma and 2 decimal places. So we can place the universe is so colon comma dot 2f years old. Just let's say, just for example, we would like to do that one, but I don't know why. So the universe is 13 billion. So you notice the same with the previous one, but here we have 2 decimal places, so years old. Then B is used to convert number into binary format. So the binary version of 0 is 0 colon B. So print txt, so that's a text that format 5. So 5 will be printed twice, but the first one is just plain number, but here it will be printed in its binary format. So the output is the binary version of 5 is 101. That's a binary format or binary number equivalent to number 5. So these are some of the examples that we can use in string formatting. So thank you very much for viewing these videos.